Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. This is Rocket Ship IAS Lab and continuing with our series on answer writing for general studies papers of civil service main examination. We take up a question that you might come across in GS paper 4. Let us read out the question carefully. What do you understand by foundational values? What are considered foundational values for civil servants? What more values you can think of that should be treated as foundational to a civil servant today? Again, as you can understand it, the first two parts of the question, actually, the first two sub questions, if you could, these are the conventional type of questions. You should be able to write something about them. It is actually the third sub questions, the third part of the question, that is actually what is supposed to make you think. So again, the UPSC's main idea in asking these type of questions is to make you think. And the thing is, there is no right or wrong answer about the third part of the questions. You can have your own interpretation. You could have your own idea that in your opinion would be foundational to the civil servant for today's time. We are actually including two values which we consider should be included among the foundational values for the modern civil servant. Anyway, we are straight away defining foundational values. Foundational values are beliefs and practices that define the core beliefs of a person, organization, or a grouping. These values are considered the very imperative sans exceptions. What we are doing here actually is defining the attributes of foundational values. And one of the attributes, one of the characteristics of foundational values is that they are considered imperative. That is, they are considered unexceptionable most of the time, that there are very few exceptions to these values. Please recall that this concept is related to the concept of categorical imperative from Kantian philosophy or Kantian ethics. And what a categorical imperative is, it applies through all the categories and there are very few exceptions to a categorical imperative. It's almost similar to the foundational values too, that the foundational values of an organization, mostly for our, you could say, relevance of an organization, the foundational values of an organization are mostly considered unexceptionable and they should apply to almost most of the cases. These values inform the very culture of the organization. They virtually define the culture of this organization and are widely shared internally and reflected outward. What we mean here, that if something is the foundational value of an organization, an institution, etc., even the outsiders should be able to, actually they should be able to say that this value is something that is foundational to the institution, organization, etc. That is, this institution, this organization adheres to these values most of the times, and moreover these values would be shared among the people who compose this organization, the members of this organization. Now, coming to the foundational values of civil servants in India, we have a reference here, that is the second ARC, the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, which identifies some of the values which are foundational to the civil servants. What are these values? These are integrity, objectivity, empathy, dedication to public service, impartiality, and non-partisanship, as well as compassion. It is compassion and tolerance towards the weaker sections. Now we would briefly define these values one by one. Coming to integrity, our understanding of integrity is that integrity means commitment to honesty and incorruptibility, that you say no to corruption. Actually, even if you are presented with a chance, you say no to it and you are committed to honesty. Then objectivity means decisions based on facts rather than on subjective interpretations. Objectivity means that your decisions are based on facts. You should not be influenced by extraneous circumstances. For an example, his own prejudices, his own conceptions, etc. He should not be influenced by these extraneous considerations. Empathy in the context of a civil servant means a regard for the citizen and having a foresight into effects of one's actions on citizens. Again, we think that empathy should also demand that empathy means that a civil servant has this foresight that his actions would have some bearing, some effect on the citizens far and wide. So he should always be careful about his decisions, his actions, etc. This is like a definition of empathy for a civil servant. A public servant must exhibit dedication by willingness to go the extra mile. Even if sometimes there is involvement of some personal cost, sometimes he has to pay some personal cost, he should be ready to go the extra mile and not stick to the bare minimum. He should treat everyone equally and not take side. For an example, during a conflict between parties, treating everyone equally is a positive concept that comes under impartiality, and non-partisanship generally applies to the negative circumstances. For example, taking decisions considering the vast mass of deprived sections, he must be considerate towards them, that he should have some concern for the deprived masses. He must also be accommodating of differing views, that is, he should have this commitment to tolerance also, that they, even if they are views that differ from his own, he should be able to accommodate them, he should be able to tolerate them. Now coming to some of the values which should be included among the foundational values for the civil servants for today. These are, first we would say that he should have a harmonizing tendency, that is, he should be able to take different sections together. In a society that is marked by differences among various sections, the civil servant should have this tendency that he should be able to take everyone together. Moreover, this should come natural to him, that he should have a natural harmonizing tendency. He must also exhibit commitment to progress and reform in society and institutions too. You can understand a society where there are so many superstitions and a society where there is some form of obscurantism too. A civil servant should have always have this commitment towards progress as well as change in the society and change or reform in the society and institutions. What obscurantism means? Obscurantism means suppression of facts, suppression of reality. Sometimes what we happen, we appeal to, for example, to faith to suppress reality. We do not want others to actually, you could say, uh, discover reality. This is called obscurantism. The obscurantism is suppression of facts or reality. Anyway, this was all on our questions on foundational values for civil servants. What are some of the values which should be considered foundational values for the civil servants, and some of the values that we would have included among the foundational values for the modern civil servant. We would reassemble for the next lecture in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.